minutes.
Oh, that's on you.
All right, Stokastic, here we go. It is a Sunday fun day. I am joined by one Eric Lindquist. We have Team Eric in effect here, getting everything set up on playback, where you guys can also watch us. I've got the Stokastic or the OddsShopper Portfolio EV baseball page up there. That's fun to check out. So we are offering a free 7-day trial to anyone who would like to. The link, have that. The link is in the YouTube description below us here. If you've not already signed up or utilized that trial, you can get that for 7 days free. Lindy, we got some weather here. We'll talk through that. Early when I was writing my article, I thought it was Aaron Zavala pitching today, but it is fastball Freddie Peralta. Did he get moved up a day? I couldn't find any news, and then I had to write a basketball article before we went live. So I didn't track that one down, but it looked like it had been 5 days. So I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's tough being used sometimes. He's just pitching on 4 days rest for what it's worth. So Freddie Peralta pitched on the 3rd. It is the 8th. So math tells me that is 4 days of rest in between. Right. But for a guy like Freddie Peralta, obviously he's built up. They're not overly concerned with it. He throws one pitch. He throws a lot of fastballs. So we're going to be able to kind of cover some of those things. And plus, that is a weather spot, but like they're going to just close the roof. So it doesn't matter whatsoever in that spot. I guess the only weather spot you really, really need to be paying attention to is Washington, where you've got Texas. You got Washington going. It looks scattered, and that's always kind of like a freaky deal. But like considering they have an entire game to be able to get this all in, and Trevor Williams is on the mound, obviously that is important. Those are things we want to target.
Yeah. So with regards to the Washington and Texas, there does look to be rain like literally all day. It just depends what ends up over the stadium and when. This is the last time these teams meet, which is important to get this game in, though neither may have playoff implications. But usually when no teams aren't going to meet again, they at least try to their best to get it in. Mm-hmm. If we look at in Pittsburgh, where there's also rain, where they're taking on the Phillies, I read somebody say, "Oh, well, they're in the same state, right by each other. It's easy to make it up." It's like, did you know that Pittsburgh and Philadelphia is farther, or Pittsburgh's farther away from Philadelphia than Philly is from New York, Boston, Washington, etc. Yeah. It's a good 300 plus miles. Now, still better than Texas and Washington trying to find a common off day where they're both remotely close to each other. But it was kind of funny that people don't realize how far away Pittsburgh actually is from that eastern seaboard. So,
wellness check on Zippy. I had some fun last night. I was at a wedding. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was an incredible wedding. But I got up early. I feel great. I'm just trying to be quieter than normal because people are sleeping and I don't want to be overly distracting. But yeah, I'm ready to rock.
So this is like your third wedding of the
third wedding in 5 weeks, but it's the last one that we've got for the year, which is nice. But yeah, we went out with a bang. I mean, going to Tahoe, Santa Barbara. I mean, it's just been really tough to be me, EMAC. Really tough to be me.
Those are tough locations to be at. Santa Barbara, that's where my one of my cousins got married. So a lot of fun out there. We just
incredible
out there for a week. So good times. All right, let's. So are you taking anything out of your player pool? Is an easier way to summarize this?
No, if it were pitchers in Washington, Texas that we were actually concerned about, we would be concerned about it and have a conversation about it. But I don't really care about them. Jacob Latz is going to pitch for 2 seconds. We're going to get zero interest in Trevor Williams. So like, I just need the game to get in from a bat perspective. That's it.
All right. And yes, Eric's talking a little quiet today. He's traveling. He is sitting on the floor in the entryway to the wet room, shall we say. And he's talking quiet because there's beautiful babies throughout the house. And by beautiful babies, I mean, the hotties. So he doesn't want to be that guy this early because then they'll complain to his wife and then his wife will kick his ass. Well, twice because it's Sunday. She's already going to kick his ass once.
Yes. Yes. Because I've been bad. I've always been bad.
Clintwood 83 with the super chat. He says, "Good morning. Had another TD takedown in the DK single entry streets yesterday. It turned $172 into $7,000. Thank you for you and your guys' coaching and the Eric Lindquist Tales channel.
I appreciate it. Clintwood's just one of the studs. I mean, Clintwood gets it all done on the daily. He just, every single time I put $1 and get a car, put $1 and get a car, like it's Vegas vacation. And I love to see it.
Giorgio.
Mr. Nick Papagiorgio.
I know that one.
I know. It just came to mind because it's just like, oh, another screenshot from Clintwood 83. It must be a day ending in Y. And the guy's an absolute stud. So keep it going, my guy. And yes, the Tails channel has been awesome. Yesterday, just went hot to begin and then cooled off. Didn't hit a home run yesterday. I thought I hit a home run every day now, EMAC, and I just 0 for 4. So that was not ideal, but overall, it's just been an incredible couple of weeks now. Must be post Memorial Day Lindy back in action because boy, oh boy, it's been really good in the betting streets. I feel good about some of the things I'm targeting for today as well, but we'll break it down here now from a DFS perspective.
All right. I'm listening, but I can't fix this overlay. All right. Well, we're going with the overlay we've got because I know it says best ball, but I can't make this change. Or you have controls. Can you flip it over to it won't let me go into the NBA deeper dive assets. Okay. I don't know why.
Gotcha. I can do that for you.
Or it thinks you're in charge because I left and came back.
So. All right. Well, give me 2 seconds. I'll get it. Here we are.
There we go. There we go. See, look, and now that we do that, I can get this up on the screen here, just to remind everybody that we all start out small, unless you're Clintwood 83, and then you're just earning multiples of multiples. But you can get the free portfolio EV trial there. Stop guessing, start winning. Use the link in the YouTube description below us here. And also, just a shout out, if you guys tend to look at my free article each day, if you watch the Josh Engelman NBA strategy show, if you watch the Lofty MLB strategy show, they're putting out unique promo codes here and there that get you good deals. We don't publicize those. We want to reward the people that are looking at our content, but that is another way to find things. Now, I'm not going to tell you when they put in good deals, but my article last week, I think, had 2 days where it was 50% off an MLB package. Now, I don't control that. That's done by our promotions and marketing team, which is Ben and Greg and Jake Hari. So, but that's something, we try to pay it forward, guys. We try to pay it forward. All righty. Let me get to the right page here. Why is it showing that page on the screen? Because that's not the one I am sharing.
All right, Boomer. Let's figure this out.
Well, I was so early and I was going to chat with Eric and all of a sudden it just so happened that I ended up being in the wrong room. I was in tomorrow's MLB strategy show room for the last 15 minutes, but now I'm back. I'm on pace here. We have 58 minutes to lock. We're going to start talking real baseball. We've hit the weather for you guys. We're going to talk pitchers here. I'm going to share the top pitchers tool on this screen because what sort of surprised me is that Tanner Bybee is coming up with the number 3 highest probability to be a top pitcher. This is something similar we're seeing on FanDuel as well. That was a bit of a surprise till you realize that Joe Ryan is going against the Toronto Blue Jays, who have the fewest strikeouts in the league. Their lineup has about a 17.6% strikeout rate against righties since the start of last year. That's the active roster. It was the roster I think was last confirmed. So that makes it a little challenging for him. He's probably our safest pitcher. We've got a little bit of weather concerns, but since Pittsburgh is controlling the decision of when to start that game and they have Paul Skeens on the mound, and they're going to wait till there's a good window, which also benefits Christopher Sanchez, because he will get be afforded that same opportunity. Those are the guys at the top. And then fastball Freddie, as you mentioned, on 4 days rest, not 5, still reasonably appropriate. He gets a matchup against the inconsistent San Diego Padres. How are you seeing the tea leaves break down for the top pitchers this afternoon?
Yeah, I think you just look at Skeens and Sanchez, and that's going to absorb most of my ownership. You brought up the Tanner Bybee piece, and I think you get all these righties that show up in Houston's lineup day in, day out, something I bring up nonstop, where it's basically Victor Caratini. It's, that nobody else that can potentially flip over to the left side, and obviously switch hitter there. But I definitely see kind of the case for wanting to get to a little bit of Tanner Bybee, but I'm a little surprised to just see people not jamming in Sanchez and Skeens, and maybe that is a little bit weather related. But as you said, they're going to be waiting it out. They're going to wait for a clean window for Paul Skeens and for Christopher Sanchez as well. And that just really looks good. I mean, we got Otto Kemp in the back half of this lineup. You get Marsh, Kepler, Castellanos, no Bryce Harper. As he's on the 10-day IL with that wrist inflammation. You've got a Pittsburgh lineup that just can't hit lefties in any way, shape, or form. They can't hit righties either, so that's a problem. I don't see a world where those two guys aren't just showing up in a majority of lineups. And if you're building in the Sims tool, you're going to get to a little Tanner Bybee because 7,200 does do a lot for you for your lineups. But I have more interest in Zach Gallen. We'll break that down a little bit. It's a scary, scary ballpark, obviously, and we saw what that run potential can be on any given day. But I think that we're going to see lower ownership on Gallen when it's all said and done. I think the Bybee ownership is going to end up at least triple of that. So there's a lot of different things that I'm seeing, but that one game environment, Skeen Sanchez, it's going to be a majority of my pitching ownership out of 80 lineups.
All right. Oh, I see that Toronto lineup was even different than what I thought. Miles Straw is in there and Nathan Lukes. So they only have a 14% strikeout rate against righties over the last since the start of last season. That now makes sense to me why Ryan is sliding back down. Of all the Minnesota pitchers that you hate, which is I think all of them, including quite a few former Minnesota pitchers. Yes. Jose Barrios. My condolences for Zebby Matthews. We don't like to see a tired shoulder already in a young pitcher. That's a little nerve-wracking. What do you think here about Ryan, or is it just the dearth of attainable strikeouts that's keeping us away from him?
I think people recognize how hard it is to strike out the Toronto Blue Jays. We're talking 16% for Bichette. We're talking 15% for Vlad, 10% for Kirk. We've got Nathan Lukes, 12%, Jimenez, 16.5%, Ernie Clement, 12%, Addison Barger, who's just been on another planet. He's the highest strikeout rate on a day in, day out basis at 21.3%.
When he's not hitting home runs, right? When he's not hitting home runs.
Yeah, but he's not hitting home runs, which is every day lately. So there's that. But I just broke down everybody in this lineup for the most part. Alan Roden, Miles Straw at the bottom half of it for today. I mean, there's just no strikeouts to be found. 13.2% for Straw at the bottom half there. You don't get Clase, you don't get Schneider. Roden is the highest in the entire game at 21.6. Actually, no, George Springer slightly ahead of that. But as good as Joe Ryan's stuff has been this year, 208 expected batting average, he gives up so many barrels. And so when the ball gets put in play, you're talking run creation, you're talking issues, 13.5% barrel percentage for Joe Ryan on the year. And he's primary throwing 55, 60% usage as fastball. He's always throwing fastballs in a place where these Toronto Blue Jays are just going to be able to make contact. I find it unlikely that unless he goes 7 innings and finds 5, 6 strikeouts and gets a win, that you're going to have Joe Ryan as this must-have type piece. So I get why the ownership is basically non-existent on FanDuel. 4.5% for a guy that is as quality as Joe Ryan can be from a strikeout in the strikeout department. It makes sense to me that we get the Colorado game over on FanDuel too, which is kind of fun. Are you playing FanDuel today too? Because I actually rolled out a lineup on that. So
yep.
Tyler McGill is the main conversation piece difference between the two with the Rockies bump, and I really like what the Mets have done with starting pitchers this year.
Yeah, let's hit on that since we have a nice natural transition to that one. Now, this is only on FanDuel. It's on the Yahoo slate, which already locked because Yahoo. They scooped up that noon game in Florida, the Tampa and Miami wrapping up their series. So we have lineups for all teams here. So the Rockies lineup has a 28% strikeout rate since the start of last year against righties. Jordan Beck, Ryan McMahon, Sam Hilliard, all around 30%. That's just almost auto strikeouts. And then you've got Hunter Goodman, who's around a quarter of a time. And then you got Braxton Fuller and Ryan Ritter. They have a grand total of 12 plate appearances between them against Major League pitching right-handers. So Miguel is kind of interesting. He's up to a 30% strikeout rate this year. That's building on last year's 26%. Probably slide back down into that 27, 28 range. But still, in this matchup, we've seen all the salary algorithms now seemingly discount Coors Field when it's the Rockies, which is kind of nice too, because this is just an epically bad offense. Yeah. But it makes sense to look to some Miguel on FanDuel here because he's 8,900, which is not cheap, but it's a little cheaper than four of the other guys we're giving long looks to. So
exactly. I just think Tyler McGill by default has to be somebody you consider. I mean, higher implied run total, 4.4 there. You're basically stripping, you look at his outs props, you look at his earned run props, and I just think he's got to be your consideration over Bybee at double the ownership at the moment. I mean, I'm a little alarmed by the Bybee ownership.
I am. Let's look at that a little more close, or let's discuss it a little more closely, since I'm looking at a whole bunch of other stuff here that I am not putting on my screen. So looking at the Bybee matchup, so he gets Houston, and obviously with Yordan Alvarez dealing with that, whatever it is, the fractured fourth metacarpal, or I forget what it is on his hand, he's still probably weeks away at this point. But when you look at this lineup, I mean, there's hardly any power in it. It's all righties with the exception of Jacob Melton, who is a non-issue. As you pointed out, this is almost as right-handed a lineup as the Angels are, right? There's just no lefties. That's just that, losing Tucker, obviously, to Chicago, and then now you've got the issue with no Yordan Alvarez. That takes over the last 3 years have been their two best hitters, both from the left side, out of the picture. So this just completely changes that lineup. Bybee this year has not had a lot of strikeouts. Last year, he was a pleasant surprise. Probably advanced a little more quickly than expected. He should be closer to a 22, 23% strikeout rate, which is a little above league average. For a starter. He's not there right now, but only 287 batters, so about a third of the workload that he had last year. But it's kind of interesting to see here, and he's always had lefty power issues. But completing the thought, there's no lefty power hitters in this lineup. That doesn't mean baseball can't be baseball, but I wrote him up and he was an afterthought in my article, and now I see why he's prominent, right? This is what happens when you write things at 8:00 in the morning.
That would have been 5:00 in the morning for me. You can guarantee I wasn't going to be writing then. That is for sure.
You probably shouldn't be driving now, let alone riding. Come on. The dangerous pencil in your hand. Yeah.
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'm Samantha. No, I got to look at Tanner Bybee even a little bit further, because if this ownership's going to hold, I'm just going to be under. That's just what it comes down to. 98 WRC plus for Houston against righties, 128 ISO. Nothing like all that appealing there, but only a 20.8% K rate. And you go through the individual hitters today, and outside of Walker, outside of the eternal strikeout machine that is Cam Smith, I don't know what you do here other than go underneath Tanner Bybee. Like it's so much ownership, and I just feel so much better. They want us to hit on Philly and Pittsburgh weather again. I mean, it's the same thing. I think they're just going to wait it out. They have the entire Sunday to find a gap there, and I just find it unlikely that Skeens with the strikeout rate for everybody on Philly there, and the obvious Paul Skeens or Christopher Sanchez going up against Pittsburgh, where I think he'll probably end up being my pivot here on FanDuel, like 10-1 for him there, 4.3% ownership. That's too damn low on FanDuel. It makes no sense. We're talking such a brutal baseball team on a day in, day out basis. You have strikeouts up and down the lineup, and then you add in just Pittsburgh against lefties, 67 WRC plus, 27.7% K rate. EMAC, that is the third highest in baseball against lefties. That is a gigantic number, only a 114 ISO. So some of the power that shows up at times against him not really an issue. And it's a great ballpark. It's a big ballpark upgrade for him from a pitching perspective. I don't see how Sanchez isn't more popular on FanDuel.
I'm sort of coming into that as well, or as I'm building out some single lineup simulator here. But I think it's the 10,000, the 5-figure price tag is keeping people away, because that's $1,700 away from Tanner Bybee. That's turning, I'm not looking at the prices, but Brett Beatty into a Pete Alonso or something of that nature, getting rid of their Punch and Judy hitting shortstop that you hate. Who is it? Mauricio
DeBuan.
Yeah.
Absolutely cannot stand that human.
Yeah. So that I think is what's pushing it, because it's the dynamic of having the Coors Field game not on the other slate and only one pitcher. Pitcher is the easiest way to save here. Otherwise, you're looking at shitty catchers in the utility spots, like the Nationals, Riley, whatever his name is, the creative players for
Riley
Sunday.
Adams.
Yeah, that's the creative players for Sunday morning that are ending up filling out your lineups there, which is just kind of interesting.
So again, just concerned if they postpone it till 7. I think we all are to some extent. Like, you're going to lose a lot of days in MLB DFS. Like that's what it comes down to. You're going to lose a lot of those type of days. I can't in good faith with these two pitchers and the quality of them relative to the entire slate say that I'm that worried about it, because they have the entire Sunday to work with. Like, they could wait until infinity o'clock tonight and get this game in. But, it is closer, as you said, Philly and Pittsburgh. It's probably easier to find a window or find a day to make that work, even though they don't play a ton coming up here. Yeah, I got to think that a 6.5 total in the Pittsburgh Philly game, I just don't see how that isn't your main target of the day.
Yeah. And sorry, Ronnie
DeBuan. So the DeBuan thing is more of the fact that he just absolutely is terrible. And the only thing he does is never, ever strike out. He has like a 4% or 4.5% strikeout rate on the season. And I've never been all that impressed by him. He gets so much love. He's a great fielder. That's the main thing. Defensively, he's great, but he had like a 26.5% hard hit last season, and he never gets walked. He never gets on base. So we're talking about a slap hitting guy who just truly is pure contact only, does not do anything of value at the plate for you.
So talk to me about your Arizona starter, because the Great American Ballpark,
it's terrifying.
What does this all mean, Basil?
But what does it all mean, Basil? You get Gavin Lux, Ellie De La Cruz, Christian Encarnacion Strand, who's going to end up a much higher strikeout rate, the guy than 21.5% based on his historical, last couple of years. And then Will Benson, Spencer Steer, Matt McLean in the 9-hole. Like, we're talking phenomenal strikeout stuff. Now, it hasn't gone well for Arizona starters here so far. Ryan Nelson got his absolute face smashed in yesterday because he's not very good. But I do think this is a spot where if you told me I had to try to get different at pitcher, try to find some different exposures, I think Zach Gallen makes the most sense. 22% K rate, gives up, just a 238 expected batting average. So he's doing an all right job in terms of some of his expected numbers. And a 3.90 expected ERA is way better than the 5.13 ERA. Now, you get the bump of taking on a Cincinnati team that just truly strikes out ad nauseum. They can also smack a baseball around. I think this is one of the most extreme cases of combination of ballpark and lineup where you could get 0-run or 15-run games on a daily basis out in Great American Small Park right now against righties for them. There's just such a large range of outcomes, but this 23.5% K rate is not indicative of today's lineup. They have a higher strikeout rate against righties than that going forward. And yes, the 103 WRC plus is pretty darn good. I think they're also a little bit sneaky, north of a 160 ISO against righties. But I think Zach Gallen, if you told me I had to try to find a way to get a little bit different, he's pulling a little ownership on DK, but I do expect if Bybee's going to stay where he is, that Zach Gallen's probably going to come in a little bit lower. And everybody saw what's happened the last couple of days. I mean, the Cincinnati offense is fired, but it feels like a spot Zach Gallen's going to come in under-owned, and I just want to be there for it because top 2 pitcher percentage, he's pretty flat there. We have positive leverage going to Flaherty and Peralta. I'm not really in love with their spots. Obviously, it's a tough matchup for Flaherty and Peralta. San Diego doesn't pretty much everything copy-paste what we talked about for Toronto. I think Gallen has the highest strikeout equity of anybody else there in that range.
All right. Kind of re-hitting on Flaherty here. He has a good strikeout rate. The challenge with Flaherty is that it's going against Chicago.
Yes.
And that just changes everything. Everything's dangerous against Chicago. Their outfield, Bush, you know, the corner infield. It's just, this is a lineup that is just dangerous under all circumstances. So that makes kind of takes Flaherty out of it for me. But it also makes the Cubs less than appealing as well, where normally it's like, hey, who's playing the Cubs? Let's see if we're going to attack today. The other question is who's playing the Chicago White Sox, and it's former two-way player Michael Lorenzen, one of your favorites. He does not get strikeouts like it's his job. He has been allowing a ton of contact. This is the get right spot of all get right spots. Is there enough DFS upside that you would consider clicking on him?
No, not really. You brought up the matchup. It's pretty brutal, and you know, strikeouts are one of the more predictable things that we do have in baseball. And Jack Flaherty has a 28.8% K rate, and yet I don't know if you saw his K prop today. Again, this is just kind of the first thing that I really start my process with every day is kind of like see what's going on. 5.5, pretty neutral both sides. I guess it's gone a little bit. Minus 118, minus 110, both sides of it there at BetMGM at the moment. I don't find it to be horrible if you want to land on some Jack Flaherty because it definitely he's high quality strikeout arm, but I think the matchup itself, I think he's appropriately owned. I think that's probably the right way of saying it. I don't have a case for or against. I think the matchup neutralizes it a little bit, and his K prop kind of is where it is, and you're not getting a discount. He's 9,500. Like, I'm talking about Zach Gallen because he's 7,600. If you make him 9,600, I have no interest. Like, that's the kind of slate that we've got, and we don't have Coors on DK for what it's worth on FanDuel. That's really the question is like how many Coors bats can I get to on the Mets side and make things somewhat functional, because I find them unavoidable there. But for DraftKings purposes, no Coors Field, you still want to be getting to some of these expensive stacks. And so for me, like Gallen is my path to that. And Flaherty, he's a massive tier below Paul Skeens and Christopher Sanchez for me.
All right. Are we ready to start talking poorly about pitchers?
Yes. Yeah. There's not a lot of happy things that are going to be said next.
No, that's why we're flipping over to the DFS top stacks tool here on Stokastic. I want to remind everybody that if you participate in the Stokastic Hall of Fame, you can get free sims for a month, any single sport package. All you have to do is finish top 3 in any DFS content with at least 5,000 people. That includes the dime time, the nickel contest, all those fun stuff, or fun couch cushion contests across the DFS sites. The key is you got to get in one that has at least 5,000 people. No ties, top 3, not the 50-way tie that's going to happen tonight for NBA DFS Game 2. Josh Engelman already has the NBA DFS strategy show in the books that is available in podcast form on the Stokastic Podcast Network. But he is going to be back for Live Before Lock as well, 30 minutes before tip-off. So check that one out. Okay, so nothing was said about the Dodgers or St. Louis because we have Clayton Kershaw going, the ghost of Clayton Kershaw. Michael McGreevy is coming out on the other side here for St. Louis. The Dodgers are the top stack on DraftKings right now. Arizona at number 2 going against Brady Singer. Oh, I've got thoughts on that. And then we kind of plateau out here with half a dozen other good teams that are all in the 6 to 7% range. If we quickly look at FanDuel to see the dichotomy here, obviously it is going to be the Mets up top just swamping everything, they have a higher chance of being the top stack than the next 3 teams combined. So we know what we need to do here, and that's attack Chase Dollinger. But focusing on DraftKings, how the heck did the Dodgers climb up there so quickly? I didn't even think about them today.
What do you mean?
Well, because I'm looking at Arizona, I'm looking at a little bit of Cincinnati, unlike you, and I'm looking at a whole lot of Colorado because I've only built out FanDuel so far. So it's all. I'm sorry, Coors Field with the Mets.
Right.
So I'm looking through rose-colored glasses, or in this case, smudged progressives that I probably should have cleaned before the show.
Keep those away from the people. Keep those away. Dodgers so frustrating yesterday. That's always good stuff. I very much like the Dodgers in a spot like this. Obviously, people are not super stoked about whatever happened yesterday. I don't really care about stuff like that. I don't really pay attention to hot streaks. I pay attention to how they're going to potentially do today. And Max McGreevy had a decent enough start in his first time out. But Michael McGreevy is not all of that. I mean, 2.78 ERA at Memphis looks all right. 1.27 whip. He's going through some of his pitch mix from that first outing. I mean, we're talking the Los Angeles Dodgers here, and pulling up the top stacks as you've got it there. They're just so low owned, 8.5% ownership share. And if you're building in the Sims, guess what? Ohtani shows up a bunch. So have fun with that, because, it's just every single day you need to be jamming as much as you can on slates like this, where he's not going to be all that popular. He hasn't hit a home run in 4 days or 4 games? Oh no, it's a disaster. His combination of speed, power. You look at this individual lineup here for the Dodgers, you get Teoscar Hernandez, you get Edmund Conforto there at the bottom half, where, kind of makes things work somewhat salary wise. You get, Freddie Freeman's not that hard, and he's pretty attainable to get to. I will say Will Smith, 5,300, batting 6th today. Not my favorite spot in the world, but Max Muncy and Shohei Ohtani going to be in just about everything that I'm doing in all of my small field. And looking at large field, I just think they're going to be a big part of the portfolio.
All right. Those are all fair points. How many lineups are you building out?
80.
All right. So I am doing, probably 50 on DraftKings, maybe 70. And then on FanDuel, I have hand built the 6 that I want to go with. So I will be building out 144 in the Sims. I'm going to actually put that on the screen here in just a minute, so you guys can sort of see how that process transpires here. Oh, I need to make 7 lineups on FanDuel. I was incorrect. I miscalculated how many small contests I joined.
All right, Grandpa, let's figure it out.
Oh, careful. I should be the one being careful. I have the worst losing day in 3 years on game 1 of the NBA Finals. I had 47 tickets I just earned through hard work, bought in 3 more. I cashed 3 of my 50 lineups.
Yeah, Lou Dort. I had nearly 100% Alex Caruso, and I felt pretty good about that until I realized that Lou Dort couldn't miss, and that was a disaster. Thanks so much for the one Kenrich Williams minute. There were just so many things about game 1 that were just crazy, and obviously the result of it was pretty crazy too. But Lou Dort making 5 threes just punched me in the face.
There was outliers all over the place. Just real quick, 24 turnovers, 19 in the first half by the Pacers, yet somehow Oklahoma City only got 7 or 9 points off turnovers. That's their lowest of the season.
For what it's worth, that's a loud stat because a lot of them were dead ball turnovers. I think it was 12 of them or something. I was going back through and taking a look at it because I'm like, oh, that's weird to only have 7 or 9 points off of that. And it was just a lot of dead ball turnovers for what it's worth.
Yeah. But they led the entire game except for the last 0.3 seconds. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I don't know. We're going to find out tonight, though. I'm interested to see if they change the starting lineup or not.
They won't. I'd be shocked if Hartenstein. I mean, Hartenstein played great for what it's worth, but we'll see. It's very easy to see that Jalen Williams went from being God against the Timberwolves to, I mean, that was about as bad of a game as I've seen Jalen Williams play all year.
All right, just for you, I'm going to build out my last FanDuel lineup. I'm going to make it a Dodger stack just because.
That's nice of you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for considering my feelings.
Of course. So Minnesota Twins against Bowden Francis.
That's the best. That
All
is
right.
the go-to.
Are you going to say anything good about the Twins? Here's your chance.
Yes. I mean, we have lefty power, and we get to go up against a righty who gives up tons of lefty power in Bowden Francis. I don't know what happened to him year over year, because this is just terrifying to see him be as inefficient, awful as what he is. 2.68 home runs per 9 this season, sub 8K per 9, like 6.47 FIP. What are we doing, Bowden Francis? And the weather in Minnesota just looks luscious. I mean, this is the best hitting weather we've had in Minnesota all season long. And you get Larnach, Wallner, Clemens, 2 through 5. This is the dream lineup for me. Like, this is what I've wanted all along. Bury Ty France to the 7 hole. Get Brooks Lee in there, who I think is going to be a really good major league hitter, just needs a lot of time to develop. And we have our 3 lefties up there in Clemens, Wallner, Larnach, just in between Buxton and Correa. I mean, come on now. I'm very, very excited about this iteration, as long as we can stay healthy, which is always a big if with the Minnesota Twins. And we can keep doing what we've been doing to start off, May and June here. I like our bullpen a whole lot, obviously. Our starting pitching still freaks me out, but Joe Ryan's been nails all season long. And, just because I don't want to play him in DFS doesn't mean that I don't want to play these bats. It's just phenomenal hitting weather.
Good times ahead. Good times ahead. Where do your personal ranks have the Twins? Are they more of a primary or a complementary stack for you?
The Twins are my second highest owned stack behind the Arizona Diamondbacks. Dodgers are third, and Texas was fourth. But I think that's probably going to come down a little bit when I update this here, because I had one little mistake here. Kansas City, another interesting one. The Sims absolutely love them against Mike Vasil, and I understand it. It's also the White Sox behind him. Anything the White Sox roll out there other than Smith right now, Shane Smith, I kind of have some respect for what he's done. I don't have any respect for any of these other goobers. And this is going to be another opportunity to potentially get to, Miguel Garcia, they're batting third now. That's your boy, Emac, from what I understand. Caglianon's going to get better and better and better as things go along, and you get an opportunity to roll him out right now for what could end up being a savings discount type price tag. He could be a 5K hitter in no time if some of his AAA numbers come along for the ride. So, like, you roll out some Kansas City too, and the Sims kind of echo that. He's going. It's a matter of when, not if. And so, yeah, I think that those are kind of your primary targets. The White Sox are a weird one. I'm not sure how much you're getting in the Sims of them right now, but I'm getting an auspicious amount of the White Sox in my lineups.
I will find out because I'm about to run the lineups. I'll do them for FanDuel on screen here first, just so we can see what happens. But just showing the Stokastic Avatar program here. Nightbot's been dropping that into chat. But download one of these Stokastic Avatars, upload that to your DFS site of choice, finish top 3 in any tournament with at least 5,000 entries, and you can meet the requirements. If you tweet the screenshot showing that Stokastic Avatar to the Stokastic HOF there on Twitter, we will get you squared away, and Lofty will induct you into the Stokastic Hall of Fame. Look, you can win it multiple times. There are lots of prizes, and you can even get in the Ring of Honor. And we actually have people in the platinum level because there have been multiple $1 million takedowns using the Stokastic Sims. Stop guessing. Start winning. Try Stokastic today. How was that? Was that good?
That was beautiful. I mean, just you don't need to audition, Emac. You got the role.
All righty. So make sure I'm sharing the screen. All right. So this is the Stokastic Sims. I'm going to kick off a run here for FanDuel. I'm building out 5,000 lineups. You can change your stacks here. This is set to emulate what the standard tournament breakdown looks like. I'm tweaking this just a little bit because I want to choose from some different lineup configurations here. I know this now is not perfectly replicating the the tournament, but it's still going to have the same players in there, just in slightly different configurations. I'm okay with that. The example we like to use is if you simulate a bunch of shitty lineups, those that looked real good at top are going to get killed when you release them into the wild. So you want this part to be pretty true to what's going on with the projections and all the heavy lifting that the simulations and the data team is doing, getting us to this phase. Once we get this created and replicated, then we can start choosing which lineups we feel better about or which players we want more of or less of, etc. But I think that is something that sometimes that's far different than what the standard optimizers used to be. That's that we've gotten better at building out. We collectively as an industry have gotten better about building out and replicating what the lineups are probably going to look like in tournaments. So once we do that, now it's built out the player pool. You can see here that it's mostly going to be in line with what's the ownership and what's pool exposure. Rarely are you going to get anything plus or minus, more than plus or minus 2%. That's the whole point here, because it's going through the simulations to determine what should land there in that player pool. Now it's going to simulate all the lineups against each other, assign ROI, and see what happens there. And then we can choose what we want. Now, even if you see something with a negative ROI, this is baseball. That doesn't mean it's going to lose. I mean, just look at, I didn't go back and look at the game one NBA lineup, but I'm sure it was probably a negative ROI lineup that ended up winning because of the wonky outcome. There's a reason they play the games, right? Weird stuff happens. Indiana, king of weird stuff, doing it at least once a series this entire playoffs, but goes to show you why, weird stuff happens. Baseball, we try to harness the variance. So the ROIs are going to be a little bit different because home run events and things of that nature. But this is building. That's the foul. Don't worry, we're going to get to the dong of the day. I know people are waiting for that. We'll throw a few thoughts.
I'm not.
Slate.
Not with you.
I didn't do it yesterday. People were angry, and I was even on with Spags. I could have done my Spags impersonation for the man himself. Lost opportunities. So when we do the exposure cap, so I'll let you chime in here. So I pick 150, and then I'll knock 6 or 7 of these off for what I'm doing. I come in and I if I don't like where the pitching is, I will weigh in on the pitching and change stuff. This actually looks pretty decent for me, shockingly. I'm not going to change it a lot because I'm okay with being heavy on Bybee. I know that means I'm getting Colorado because of it. Skeens, I want to be above the field because he's such a talent. And then I built out 2 of my 7 lineups with Christopher Sanchez in it. So I know dollar-wise, I've got way more than 2% on it because I'm entering those in a bunch of little leagues and double ups and stuff like that. So when I see that chat, I'm pretty good with it. Looking at the stack exposure, wow, that's a lot of Milwaukee. That's a lot of Cincinnati there, but it's some interesting stuff. Now, what's driving that Cincinnati is Encarnacion Strand, and I can't remember who the other guys. They're really cheap, so that's allowing you to get some other lineups in there. But you can see the Dodgers are kind of low. Colorado's kind of low. When we go look at the players, even though the Dodgers are low, I'm guessing that Shohei Ohtani is going to be kind of popular. So look, he's on 18% of my lineups. We're just getting him as one-offs. You said you like Muncy as well. Muncy is wow, I'm hardly getting Muncy. So let's just play this all the way through quickly for everyone, and then we'll get back to the analysis. But I'll come in here. I'll take Muncy, just give him 2 ROI boosts there. Who was the other person I wanted? Christopher Sanchez. I'll give him 2 clicks. So all that's doing is any lineup that has either of those 2, it's giving 10%. So if both of them are in the same lineup, it'll give them 20%. You can see that that's still not going to move things around a ton, but you can boost individual players. You can boost the stacks. Careful, because you're going to start double counting things. But that is a good way to do this. But this looks like it's a pretty good blend of what I'm hoping for. So now I'm selecting my 143 lineups. We'll just quickly look at it, see if it makes sense. Awful lot of Christian Yelich and Jackson Chourio. Who's going for? It's not Vincent Vasquez, or not Vincent Vasquez. It's not Randy Vasquez. He already won. Who's the crappy pitcher today? Padres. It is Ryan Burgert.
I went into the abyss. You were on a roll there.
That's okay. No, I was trying to remember who was in for San Diego. It's Ryan Burgert. I think he had an okay start in his last one. Did a little better than we thought, but he's like a creative player. So
No,
I will now
he's
upload
getting
these lineups.
first turn really. I mean, I can't believe Randy Vasquez just continues to do what he did yesterday. It's just so ultra annoying. But we've got very limited sample size on him. As he gets built up, we're going to expect a lot of other things to come along for the ride. Like, I don't know, hard hit is going to come up for sure. He has no strikeout stuff whatsoever. And if you give a contact to Churio, if you're not K'ing him and Yelich and Contreras, like there's going to be hell to pay at some point. I think Jake Bauers is probably one of the more appealing contrarian options on today's slate as well, just because of the way the Padres pen plays out, where I think you're going to probably have limited pinch hit risk for him. I feel really, really good about the Brewers being one of those sneaky teams. Now, they were showing up a ton in the Sims on FanDuel. On DK, a little bit less so. Brought up kind of the White Sox with like Vargas at 3K, with Elko at 2,500. Like, these are the guys that are showing up as like 1, 2, 3 person lineup filler for me. But on FanDuel especially, I mean, they are a big part of the slate.
All right. And then I'm just going to kind of display here real quick, but this is the single lineup simulator. So what you can do here is this is where you can really influence things. If you don't believe in Brady Singer, and you shouldn't, you want to make out an Arizona stack here. That's pretty easy to do. Just I'm picking the 4 Arizona players I want, saying complete this stack. Oh, just for you, I guess I'm going with Gallon in this one. So I will readjust my next lineup because I don't want to play him today. I'm now guaranteeing him a no-hitter. But you can see this builds out a positive ROI here with what we've chosen. This is set for 1,000 lineups or less in the tournament. So this is not necessarily for the large field stuff, but this is kind of how you want to build out your cash game lineup, or see what specific stacks look like, what pitchers they give you, etc. This is a good way to do it. So if I want to just do that again, but without Gallon in there, I can just knock everybody out and then hit complete lineup again. Now, what it's going to do, you can say, hey, wait, weren't those mostly the same players that we just saw? Yes, they are. Doesn't have randomness on it. It's not taking range of outcomes. It's literally just saying, hey, of the empty spots left, what is the best projected ROI lineup?
Yes.
And that's what it's putting in there. So you're not going to get differentiation. If you build out 20 of these, like I built out 15 yesterday, and Corbin Carroll was a one-off in every single lineup, and then he was out right before luck, which did not help me because I was on a show here. But that's I was demonstrating that then as well, because it's something important to understand, that you have to be cognizant and careful of what is going on here. But it is definitely a lot of fun to play around with for this one. Like Minnesota is a good one to do. Now, it doesn't, because I'm screen sharing, I have to copy it to get something else down here. When I'm not screen sharing, you'll have a spot to push, hey, I'd like another lineup, and it'll just be there for you. This just freezes my screens a little bit. But if I want to take a closer look here at your Minnesota guys, no Jefferson in the lineup today, but let's take their lefties. We'll take Clemens. We'll take hopefully we get Castro in there.
Mm-hmm.
Who else should we get? There, Wallner, Larnack. Why didn't I get Castro? I did the wrong position. Oh, we can't do that because we got to get Clemens out of there. Oh, they're all outfield. That's why. Okay. Well, whatever. Sorry, Clemens, you don't make the cut. We just complete the lineup, and then look, now we got Joe Ryan on this one. So that's all there is. And you don't have to run the to see what the ROI is. It's just helpful to know, hey, this is pretty good. I don't need to redo it. If you get a bunch of red, that doesn't mean it's wrong, because say I wanted to make a lineup attacking Christopher Sanchez or attacking Paul Skeens, it's going to be a negative lineup, but I know that it's an insurance hedge or something I want to do. But it's also a good reminder that, wow, these outcomes aren't very positive in my favor. So just food for thought there. That is the Stokastic Singlesim tool. Anything else you want to mention on this main slate? We got 16 minutes before lock here. We'll talk dong of the day and throw some information out there on the late slate. If you want to circle back on weather one last time here for everybody.
Yeah, I'm double checking the weather here now. Looks pretty good. I think we're going to be all right. I think they're going to find a way to get the game in some capacity. I mean, there's precipitation going from now until forever, but it's just such a tough spot for me to say that you shouldn't be. Like, I'm probably going to end up capping them when it's all said and done, because otherwise I just show up with an eternal amount of Paul Skeens. But I think there's going to be some volatility as far as like with the bats that I'm looking at here in lineups. If I get to less Paul Skeens, I get to some more of the expense. Like, I'm getting Shohei Ohtani as a one-off in absolutely everything. But as far as expensive stacks go, I mean, it is kind of just the Arizona piece that is so interesting to kind of get to for some of those main guys. There's really not, as I said, the Coors Field piece over on FanDuel is such an interesting change to the slate. But I have tons of Buxton. I have tons of this Minnesota team, tons of Arizona, Corbin Carroll, Shohei Ohtani, Dodgers. I mean, this is so easy to get to him on DK. There's a reason he's like 28% owned over there. Or I guess 28% in my lineups right now at the moment, 23.5% ownership projection. But the push and pull of this slate is just with Paul Skeens. If you are feeling uncomfortable about the weather or not willing to like embrace the fact that like this thing could end up being very, very dicey as the game starts out, like there's not really like a pivot to go to. And that's where I'm kind of like, all right, let me just eat all the Skeens. I trimmed a little Christopher Sanchez, got to a little bit more of my guy Zach Gallen for today. I just think there's such a path to him, and I'm probably going to end up betting Arizona when it's all said and done. But I think from a DFS perspective, with Carroll, Marte, Perdomo, Naylor, Suarez, these are expensive bats on this slate. That's definitely the one that'll be harder to get to for the Paul Skeens lineup. So I'll probably boost a little bit of Arizona when it's all said and done, and I already have a lot of them.
So the only way to really avoid Skeens in the Sims is to pick two pitchers, because if you leave one of those spots open, it's going to try to get him or Bybee in there. So yep. That's the other tip for those of you that are utilizing this. It makes things interesting, but it's also fun to pick different pitching combinations because you can see how different it could really be with some of them. Now this is a pretty good one here because it's giving me a double stack, and you can see you can't set this for stacks, so I picked out 3 or 4 Minnesota batters, but it said, oh hey, look at the salaries and the relationships, and it just put in a bunch of Cincinnati guys and then Mike Tauchman floating around. So anyway, single lineup sim, I can spend hours doing this. It is really a lot of fun for baseball. Early slate, who do you have for your dong of the day?
My dong of the day for today. I just got to go to Matt Wallner. His odds are so damn short. And I just feel like Matt Wallner, when you get a righty who gives up tons of lefty power, I'm not going to call it a freebie, but the wind is blowing out. He lofts the ball. He does everything that I care about when it comes to home runs. And you look at the bullpen behind, you're going to get primary righties coming for Toronto as well. So the pinch hit risk goes down for him. Cody Clemens as well. Like, this is just such a good spot for both of them. But Wallner is 4,300 with like plus 200 odds to hit a homer, kind of like as his average odds across the industry. Like, we're talking about an absolute stud against righties.
You know who I'm going with?
Oh, you got to sing the song. You didn't sing the song. Everybody's mad.
Oh, God. So I promised. Dong of the day. Dong of the day. Yeah, this Chris Spags is Puppet Lindquist with hands up asses. Dong of the day. Coming out of Eric's mouth. Did that work? Chat, I better get some likes for that one. Hey, Eugenio Suarez. Going back-to-back in a former place where he played. Keep in mind, he has played in multiple places besides Cincinnati, but he spent 7 years there before going to the Mariners. So, Eugenio Suarez, the righty home run against Brady Singer. Oh, that works. I'm a singer. Brady's a singer. Dog of the day. Yeah, dog.
Holy shit.
Eric's going to self-exclude from this show.
I mean, what have we done with our with ourselves. No, I'm having a great time, actually. I'm just kind of, it's nice to be coasting. It's also nice to like know that I have to be somewhat reserved, that I can't go ballistic or sing what you just sang, because people will hear me and judge me for such things. I should probably think about that more in my real life.
I love this. Look at that. No graphic. Got the graphic out there. Do the roar. I'm not sure what that one is. Don't quit my day job.
Don't
All
ever
right.
roar.
Very good. Fun day dong of the day. That was Sunday fun day. That's a good callback there. John Prince coming in. We saying hello. Carlos Soto's in there. We had Dano come over from playback just to say, giving you props. There we go. Now I know why Spags invented this amazing catchy tune. Coming to a top 40 playlist near you.
Yeah, Sabrina Carpenter will sing about it next. It'll be great.
Oh, gosh. Who is your nuke, or better yet, your single lineup stack of the day?
All right, I'll give you two pieces of it. Shohei Ohtani, Max Muncy.
Okay. Corbin
I
Carroll
love them both. I'm going to bet Max Muncy here in 4 seconds as well. Hits plus runs plus RBIs. But just everything is popping for him. I absolutely love him today. I don't think he's going to pull nearly enough ownership. Whatever these glasses are that fixed his vision. Have you read about this?
No, I have not.
So Max Muncy was not seeing the ball well to start off the season, and he ended up getting like new glasses made for him that apparently help him be able to like pick out the ball. Like he was having such an issue seeing break or like seeing like just basically seeing period. And since he had it fixed, he's just been a completely different human. There's stuff like that you just need to understand happens in a sport like baseball, like ridiculous stuff like that. Like, oh, okay. I guess he was just, it's the same as if somebody was injured and just had awful contact numbers or things of that nature. It's just the same kind of deal. But yeah, Max Muncy glasses changed his entire outlook on the year.
That is hilarious. And honestly, that happens at least once a year in sports. Someone either gets LASIK
astigmatism. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it gets something adjusted and it works out. Oh, that is good. I was not aware. Usually I catch those stories, but obviously not that one. There's so much going on in the sports world. That's why it's good to have folks like Lindy that are completely ensconced in it. So you gave us one of your wagers of the day there. If people wanted more of your wager recommendations and they weren't getting enough on Twitter, even though you are very generous on Twitter, where else could they get that information?
Oh, yeah. You guys could head over to OddsShopper. Check out Tails. We got the Lindy and Friends Discord. It's myself, Eitan Chander's in there, Greg Ehrenberg in the futures department. So he's got his thread over on X for Portfolio EV every single day. But there's so many ways to make money betting. And I think when you look at Portfolio EV market-based, it is just phenomenal. It's the best market-based tool in the entire industry. But one thing you're able to do when it comes to projections and not necessarily comparing things to the market is you're able to kind of come up with your own baseline. So I'm more, bottom-up betting. The top-down betting model is phenomenal as well, and I've intertwined that so much more into my process. But you definitely want to be checking out the Tails package. $5 to check it out for a week. Try to make it as easy as possible for people to check out and see if it's for them. And well, if you like making money, we've been making money hand over fist the last month.
It is true. I have enjoyed it. And even if you're not able to get in on the sports wagering, Eric also gives out ample pick'ems for Prize Picks. Almost every day you've got pick'em cards for Prize Picks, Pick Six on DraftKings, etc. So everything's covered. Plus, you can rub elbows with someone like, say, Clintwood 83.
Yes,
Clintwood
83. I mean, dude, heater isn't even the right word. It's something else. It's Fire Inferno, Blazing Inferno.
All right, I'm going to build out my lineups and load them here. Just quickly talking about that 3-game late slate, 4 if you're on Yahoo, because they are doing the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, which as law has decreed, it has to be the Yankees and Boston game. I'm assuming it is. Actually, I know it is, but that's the only way it works in the world these days. But Carlos Rodon is in the mix. Otherwise, you're picking between two shitty pitchers in Sutter Health Park, which just take the bats. San Francisco's interesting because you have Spencer Strider, who has been struggling. He missed most of last year with an injury, came back, strained his hamstring in his first appearance this year, which was a little delayed anyway. He's then been out, come back for 3 starts, getting some strikeouts, but walking players, giving up home runs. He's not a true Spencer Strider to the point that he's actually similarly priced to Roop, who he is taking on the Giant side. I think those are your 2 pitchers you want to go to because George Kirby is a shell of himself. Correct. George Kirby pitches to contact. He has no walks. He led the league in walks literally each of the last 2 years, but he's also allowed the 6th most hits over the last 2 years. Now, this year, he missed some time. I think it was shoulder fatigue or something like that, but he has come back and just been a batting practice pitcher. The models, I think, are wrong. They're accounting for too much of prior history. I don't think he's fully back to health, or maybe it's a stamina thing or whatever it is, but I don't want any part of him. And even though he's going against a mostly righty lineup there in Anaheim, they almost all have power. And with Jorge Soler banged up, you get Joe Adell in the lineup. I think he had 2 home runs last night, or was it just 1? I went to bed at some point. I was not happy. 2, he had 2. So, it's if he can get contact on Kirby, he's going to take one for a ride. So that's kind of your afternoon slate there. So it's really focus on the hitting and then try to pick some pitchers that you think are going to survive. It's a fun slate.
The right way of putting it.
Yeah, it's kind of like what happened last night in the late slate. You're just trying to find some pitchers that just allow you to hang in there. And I don't even remember if a single starter got a win last night on that 5-game slate. It sure didn't feel like it, but that was one of those where it's like, oh my God, is this really happening? And I thought I had a bad night, got mad, went to bed at 10:30, and I woke up and I had a great night because I won like 10 tickets into the NFL best ball contest because my team lucked out at the end. I believe it was courtesy of Cal Raleigh helped out, and Adele, of all people. So just throwing that out there.
Love Adele. Never mind our fan.
Sometimes you got to be rolling in the deep. Oh, wow. I'm getting just for you. Apparently, I'm getting a decent chunk here of Zach Gallen. So
there you go.
We ride at dawn.
We ride at dawn, my friend. We ride at dawn.
All right. Talk for a second here because I got to upload my lineups.
Yeah, you upload your lineups.
Please.
Take a second. If you guys are looking for some bets in the home run department as well, I do think there are some like really, really appealing numbers in that Minnesota game. I mean, Vlad Guerrero Jr., I know that it's Joe Ryan on the other side, but we're talking fly ball pitcher with wind blowing out. I saw plus 675 for a quick second, and now it's come down to plus 575. I still think that that's bettable over at BetMGM. So like Toronto, just because of the game environment, I think is worth a couple of shots in large field. That game doesn't lock for another hour, so you've got time to adjust whatever you want to kind of throw things around there. But across the board, there are just so many spots. I mean, we've got a 9.5 total in St. Louis. I think that both sides of that one are pretty interesting. And then I just want you guys to take into account more of like when it comes to the pitching props. I mean, we have a over 6.5, over 5.5, both juiced towards the over for Skeens and Sanchez. And, you know, we can try to make cases against, we can talk about the weather and freaking out, but remember how many times you're going to lose in MLB DFS on a daily basis. And, you know, not everybody's going to be Clintwood where they're able to just smash in single entry every single day. But I do think that being able to understand the push and pull of like every slate is different. And yes, the weather freaks me out to some extent, but like I look at their K props and I compare, you know, their outs props, everything across the board. They're just so good on today's slate. And if I'm trying to get different, that's where Zach Gallen exists. He's 5.5 juice towards the over. So like it becomes very clear cut to me that like, you know, Jack Flaherty, Zach Gallen, pretty interesting spots, terrifying for both of them. But I don't think the gallon piece is going to be appropriately owned enough. So yeah, just inform some of your DFS play by utilizing OddsShopper, by utilizing the live odds page. I think that, the more you're able to kind of see the cohesion that those two processes can have, the better your play is going to be across the board.
Phew, made it in.
I did as much as I could there for you.
Perfect. I appreciate it. I had started loading my FanDuel lineups into my DK template, and that wasn't going to work out for me. So I see a couple things. Rand says I have a best ball ticket. Not sure how that contest goes. Depends. If you've got there's like a slugger mid-summer slugger event, that's going to be a best balls drafted for baseball over the All-Star game. If it's NFL, hey, we've got you covered with NFL best ball content. Chris Baggs is doing shows for us on Tuesdays and Thursdays live, 3:00, covering DraftKings specifically. You can ask him questions for a full hour. I think he's going to bring on some other people there to talk on the shows as well, just to give different perspectives as well as ask different questions. He is phenomenally ensconced in the world, and it's fun watching him draft because he describes the things as he's seeing them and then why he makes specific decisions. So if you're trying to remember what's the difference between hyper fragile and zero RB and hero RB, they're all like variations of each other. Take the best value play, just have fun, but build good structures. And best ball is a whole fun world out there. It's not solved by any stretch, and it is more variance in that than even DFS. Because if you think about it, an entire season technically is one slate for best ball. So still out there. I'll be maxing the $20 150 max there on DK. I'm sure Lindy will as well. But it's a lot of fun, and I'm definitely following Spags because he knows his stuff. All right, I think we're doing well. Eric, we can get on out of there. Team Eric for the win, as always. Thank you for joining me. You guys can find Eric on Twitter at Eric Lindquist. You can find me at EMACDFS. And of course, it is Stokastic_COM. Hit that like button. I got a call into Mama Mac later today, and she's going to ask me, did you get 100 likes on your show today? And then she's going to say, when I'm with you, can I go on the show again? Did you know on her 80th birthday, she made a guest appearance? She was staying with us. So she popped in for Sunday Night Football. So to wave to everybody, Neil was on with us. So it was a good time. All right. We are getting out of here. Lindy's got some hangover food that he needs to go get.
Sure do.
So
I got to go.
Good luck, gamers.